Hello everybody and welcome to this, the latest episode of The Chaos Void. Before we go any further, you should know that this show is brought to you this week and every week by the Humble Bundle. Do you like video games? You probably do, you're here. Do you like good causes? Hopefully you do, you're here. Well, the Humble Bundle is a perfect mix of those two things. If you like video games and you like supporting good causes whilst you buy and play them, then you should go and look at some of the games that the Humble Bundle is offering right now. If you buy stuff through them, it supports good causes, and if you buy it through our link, which you'll find in the description, it supports us as well. Sup, nerds?
What's up? Thank you very much for that intro.
My pleasure.
We are the Chaos Void. And yeah, this week we actually kind of have a somewhat of a structure. Obviously, the biggest news with that, thanks Cam for the product placement. Biggest news this week was, of course, Overwatch 2 being released. We did a little reaction stream as well, which should be uploaded by the time this has been uploaded. So if not, check that out. What did you guys think of the changes made in Overwatch 2? Because there are many. It's
if the internet is anything to go by, it's 5v5, it's terrible. Overwatch it's dead. It's finished. Don't stop playing it. The Overwatch League is going to set itself up. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked really good. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm with Cam on this one. Like, I just got more annoyed looking at it. I had to, back away from Twitter. I was seeing, 16-year-olds being like, I'm not playing this anymore if this 5v5 turns out to be true. And it's like, dude, you're not fucking Carpe. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Calm down.
What you don't know,
chill.
What you don't know is that's actually Carpe's 16-year-old alt account.
Yeah.
No, my favourite reaction to it was on the competitive Overwatch subreddit, and it was somebody just sharing a clip of Jeff Kaplan saying, "What do you people want?" We get heroes like Sigma that control too much space and are too powerful and need nerfing into the ground where they're dull and not unique anymore. And I actually think that one of the best ways to go about this is take it back to its simple roots. You think about what we were doing when Overwatch 1 came out. You played Winston or you played Reinhardt. You maybe put an off-tank with it and Dive developed. But, that's what we're going back to. It's not that we're yeah, okay, we're cleaning the slate and salting the earth a little bit, but we're salting it so that new shit can come in. Yeah, okay, I get metas are tank dependent. I get we won't have this, that, or the other anymore. But also the most fun meta of the last year and a half was Genji Blade. Didn't rely on tanks. So let's fuck about and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, I from another point of view, having one less character to think about within the team fight means it should be easier to balance the game because you're not having to think, okay, how does this tank synergize with this tank and is it overpowered? That's how GOATs develop, the sustain of healers along with the protection of
Never
the
again.
tanks. Yeah.
Please. I'm looking forward to it, to be fair. We say that metas are very tank dependent, but they don't need to be tank dependent. They just became tank dependent because the tanks are the ones that initiate these team fights. They're the ones that throw their weight around.
Most impactful ults as well.
Yeah, for me, I'd like to think that the more exciting metas come when they're triggered by DPS changes. And I'd love to see something like that. And to boost the tanks that we do have so those characters aren't, I'm a bland generic tank with a shield and a thing that goes sucky suck for all the projectiles. I just want to see some excitement put back into the tanks, and I think that this is one way of doing it. I'm actually really excited. I want to stop playing Overwatch just because it's 5v5.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is that it opens up what tanks can do. At the minute, like you said, Kiwi, for a tank to be useful, it basically has to have a shield or be an off tank. If you can't put down a shield in some form, it's pretty hard to play you as a front tank unless you're Ball, I guess. But this opens up the chances for something like Ball to become much more prevalent because you can't rely on shields in the same way, but you can rely on that space taking. If D.Va gets a buff to somewhere closer where she was with Overwatch 1, the stuff you can do with that tank, with movement-based tanks, with sky-based tanks, with forward-facing tanks, with aggressive tanks, with backline tanks. I know they said they wouldn't do a sniper tank, but right now in Overwatch 1, a sniper, a tank is, I am up front, I'm quite chunky, I probably have a shield. I kind of like that's being opened up a bunch.
I love that it makes you think more about your positioning as well. Like, positioning's always been important, and it's always been something, if you want to climb, it's always been something you really have to think about. But if you've got tanks like D.Va, Winston, Sigma that are great for peel, but you've really got to think about your positioning if you only have one tank. And God forbid that one tank does not come with a shield.
Yeah, and then they've also added the change. DPS move much quicker now as well. So I think we saw in like the games that they were broadcast to us, it looks very fast paced. I mean, we don't play at the highest level. We're gold, plat, trash. But and maybe the people that were playing were the same, because they were definitely not professional Overwatch players. Let's just say that. But I think it gave a good insight as to what the game would be for that average level, because that's, I would say, why they've targeted this decision. They haven't looked at the 1% at the top or the bottom. They've looked, okay, where's the majority of the player base, and what is it that needs to change to make it more enjoyable for all these players, because it's those people who are buying the loot boxes, buying the merch.
Yeah.
Really. And it going to 5v5 brings it in line with most other competitive esports titles. League of Legends, Dota is 5v5, Rainbow Six is also 5v5.
It's a COD League 5v5 as well.
That is now 4v4. They reduced it down.
It was 5v5.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so it's the same there, same as other esports, and I'm just, a lot of people are hating on it, even though they haven't even got a chance to play it yet.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hate as well for the fact that we saw it kind of demoed by average level players. I've actually got a lot of time for that, because I've got a lot of time for it as long as we do eventually get like a demonstration with pro players, because
Maybe
you want to
when
know
the
what
beta arrives.
Yeah, like you want to know what the league's going to look like moving forward. So we do want to see pro play of it, but at the same time, I want to know, and everyone who's going to buy Overwatch 2 wants to know, how is it going to affect their game. So previewing it straight out of the bat with pro players, that's not going to show you how your gold game's going to end up matching up, right? So we know that it's going to be more fast paced, it's going to be scrappier. And that going into it with a 5-stack is probably going to be like the saving grace.
You want to be duoing with your tank, because you don't want a solo Zarya tank who only solo bubbles. Because that is one of the changes Zarya has. She can now choose where the bubbles go. It's not one for herself, one for a teammate. It's either 2 for a teammate or 2 for herself, as well as 1 for herself and a teammate. And if I'm a Zarya, I'm only bubbling myself. Sorry, guys. You can die.
Wow. Well, as a support main that queues with Squiddy, I know what I'm doing next time we play Overwatch.
Someone pointed out you could then double bubble a Genji who's blading. So you don't need a nano.
Oh, yeah, you could. Shit, that'd be cool.
You can then save that nano for either your Zarya to build up charge again, or another impactful ult.
Yeah, well, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
but good.
Doom as well. Doom as well. Although they said they want to change how.
Can we just get rid of
game.
Doomfist? Delete Doomfist.
Because they've removed how Mei freezes, which is, I think that's a change they should implement now in Overwatch. Like, her primary fire can't freeze, but a blizzard can. That makes sense.
It makes the blizzard special as well. It makes it. I know it's already kind of special because it's like got this large area to it. But if your primary fire can do on a small scale what your ult can do, I don't really see the point in it. Yeah. So taking that away, and it still does something, it still slows people down, which for a healer, you are still screwed. But it makes that blizzard more impactful. It makes it more special. Yeah. It's going to work great as a zoning tool, because people are going to hear the voice line for it and just not even go near that area. You're not going to want anything to do with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's how they could change Sombra, because again, her ability, like May's left click, her manual hack is ult on cooldown. So maybe they change Sombra so it removes one of a hero's abilities, and maybe any overshield they have. So like with Ryan, it removes their shield, but they can still charge away.
Okay.
I don't know how that would work with McCree.
I kind
Does
of
he still
disagree
forget how
with
to roll?
I'm pretty with Kiwi. I don't think that like I don't think it's a case of. This is the thing I think that's got caught up a little bit in translation is I don't think it's about taking away like bits of the game. I don't think they're trying to like minimize down what each of the characters are. I think it's just that like they have like playing around that 5v5 simplifies the fight a little bit. Like I don't think and I'm not suggesting you were saying that, but I don't think that the idea is to take away each of the abilities that make a character powerful, because I think if you take away Sombra's manual hack, she's fucking useless.
No, she can still manual hack.
That's the whole point of Sombra, right?
But removes a part of it, because in that 5v5, I think a lot of people are saying if she manual hacks a Rhine a Shatter, that's done. But if you can manual hack, but he's lost his shield, but can still run away and charge or fire strike, he's still got some way of sustaining.
Right, okay, I see what you mean.
There'll definitely be balance changes.
Yeah.
I can see balance changes coming regarding things like that if there's only going to be one tank. But it kind of, the Mei change in particular really makes sense with the 5v5 and the one tank.
I want that now, though.
Like if you just get the Mei to constantly freeze up that tank, you've got no tanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So making them slower or instead forcing the Mei to go after other targets is probably the aim, I would say. I don't know because I'm not one of the devs, but I would say that's probably the goal of those changes. And if you go after a soldier, then you're just slowing him down to regular speed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rhine's change as well with the double fire strike. We were just talking about him. Double fire strike Rhine is gonna be an absolute monster.
I love that.
And
but
the
as a
charge
Mercy
changes
main,
as well.
I hate that.
your face always ends up hitting a Rhine fire strike, and I don't know how there's magnet for them.
And last time we played, the team we were against kept fire striking through an amp matrix. So I was just gone. Every time that came out, I was just wiped out.
Yeah,
instantly.
now there's two of them.
Yeah,
God,
now
so
you
that
can
makes
get
it
an amp
what?
matrix. Just picture it: amp matrix, double fire strike,
That's
either a
damage
nanoed Rhine or a damage boosted Rhine. You could wipe out a team.
Yeah.
I was about to say with the Grav, but obviously that unless you got an Echo who duplicated the enemy's aria, Grav did.
Yeah, you could do that.
So this
God.
this is my one concern about 5v5 is Echo is going to be so powerful in the front. Like when people get used to playing 5v5, we'll settle into metas and stuff. But up front, I guarantee you, off tanks are picking Echo. They're duping the tank. Fight is won.
True, but then you've got plenty of hit scan to deal with that. Really.
True.
Because then you'd load double hit scan to deal with the Echo, because you'd know how much that would screw you up.
But then at the same time, though, you haven't got... Your positioning's going to have to be fantastic because you haven't got that safety to hide behind.
Yeah.
And not only that, but how many games have we been in where we've been like, take a hit scan, somebody, please, and they either don't or they do to be nice, and then they can't hit anything. It's
Though it will now be easier to queue up with friends because you can kill one of your friends now.
Yeah.
You don't need 5 other friends. You only need 4.
If you're an off-tank player, run.
Support! Yes!
But yeah, I think now tank is going to become as specialised as DPS is.
Yeah, I agree. I think we saw so much, and look, I love the Overwatch League and I love its players, and especially our boys. You did great against Florida. We really respect you. But the amount of Overwatch League players molding over the week of like, oh my god, they've thrown my career away. They're not deleting D.Va. She's still there. Yeah. It's just going to be like a totally different kind of utility. And I actually think this will see an increase in tanks coming into the league, not the other way around. Because it's going to be specialised. You'll get your main tanks. You'll get the hybrids and the glisters and the answers of the world who have a role, play it to completion, and that's what you need of them. And
I'm with you on this.
Like, okay, that'll be harder at first, and yes, okay, that sees an increase in money and stuff like that. But like I don't think making a role more specialized does any harm to it.
Well, look at the certain players that you associate with certain tanks anyway, like Ameng and Gaga on Ball, Fiori and Poco on Diva, Bembest on Ryan, Super on Ryan. Like, as well, everyone's making jokes at like the off tank's expense. For me, I would be more worried if I was a main tank than an off tank, because I think in the 5v5 meta, if you're an off tank, you're going to be able to provide a lot more to the team than you are if you're a main tank. So, off tanks, you're probably alright. Super. Get your resume
Wow.
up on Indeed, son.
Up on Indeed, we get players' jobs.
I know that was
But
like,
yeah, you're absolutely right. You're going to have that specialization, and I think a Overwatch League tank player will know maybe 2 to 3 tanks in their arsenal rather than the entirety, because it's split anyway at the moment. Thanks for that, Cam.
You're welcome.
Between main tanks and off tanks.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just dividing that once more.
Like, the tanks
essentially.
play very differently as well. Like, I know at Overwatch League level, you're kind of expected to kind of
They're
be a
all
jack
good
of
at
all
all the
trades,
players,
but to be a really, really successful team, that specialization really works. And we've seen it a lot with DPS. We see it a lot with Lucio as well, in particular on support. The difference having that specialized character can make. So if you split your tanks, not necessarily into main and off, but into how the different tanks play, because even some of the off tanks play very, very differently to each other, then you cover those different roles. You're basically covered in every meta, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, yeah. And you'll want to play what your team is best, because if you've got like that low plat diamond masters team and your player's like, hey, I put in 10,000 hours on Diva, we're going to play Diva comps, you're going to work away to play around that.
Yeah.
And that's going to be... I'm excited
I see
to
Diva
what that will
being
happen.
very, very strong
Mhm.
when Overwatch
Diva and
2
Sigma.
launches. Like, the mobility, so the peel you can provide to your DPS and your backline, the defense matrix, and that's got quite a range on it as well. And not only that, but the fact that all the cooldowns have like been halved. So you've essentially got unlimited from what we could see, you've
If you do it
essentially
right.
got an unlimited defense matrix if you play it right, which is insane. And even though it's not a shield, if anything, it's better than a shield because it doesn't break.
Yep.
You've just got to manage a short cooldown, which most people can do. So
Just
Yeah.
like
I'm putting my money on Diva initially.
just like classic Diva, she originally had endless defense matrix, and she
Yeah.
was just fun. I also think it's worth noting that this is not all the heroes going into Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
Okay, we know about Sojourn. We can probably extrapolate that there's that cool ass looking fox lady coming along. But like,
Yeah.
I don't think
And
we're
the
just...
support, Malga.
Yeah, the big
Oh,
Samoan
yeah.
dude.
The tank guy, yeah, with BAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's probably fair to say that there's probably more heroes coming along. If Overwatch 2 releases and it's just 3 new people, that's a bit of an undersell, even though there's
How
so
many
much work.
people would you want?
I think 6.
Overwatch 2 releases, hopefully next year, knock on wood. What do you want?
I think 6.
I was
6
going to
on
say
release.
anything less than 6 is disappointing.
2 per role, or how would you like that split
Yeah, I think
amongst the roles?
I'd almost want 1 DPS, 3 tank, 2 healers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you already look at the hero lineup, DPS has like double the amount of playable characters that tank and support do. So if you give tank and support players a bit more choice, that can only be a good thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
especially if you're putting more utility in them. I think I think 1 more tank than anything else would make sense because it's such a big change, and they haven't they're saying that they're playtesting Overwatch 2, and obviously we got to see that, but they weren't able to show us if they are developing these heroes, it's likely they are playtesting with them. So 5v5 might make a huge amount more sense when you see this character and this character coming in, or this tank, and just because we didn't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So I think if they're adding a huge amount more utility to those roles, beefing up what you can do with them would be the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we only saw 4 tanks as well in the demo they showed us. We saw 4 reworked tanks, I should say.
Yeah.
We saw Rhine, reworked Rhine, reworked Zarya, reworked Diva, and there was another one. Hang on. Vine, Zarya, Diva, Monkey.
Monkey, yeah.
Obviously, Monkey with his new Zap gun, which I am super excited to try that. But there's still we saw Hog, but he hadn't had change.
Hog and Orisa weren't reworked when we saw that.
Or Bull.
Or Bull.
Yeah.
We didn't really see any changes of Bull, and we didn't even see Sigma. What changes, so, to Orisa, or to those 4 tanks, do you think will happen? Theory crafting here, to make them more suitable for 5v5.
I want to see Hammond with a Winston-style shield. I think if you're only going to have one tank, I want to see Hammond get some form of portable shield that it can deploy.
How about he you know his overshield he gets when he's around enemies? He distributes a share of that to his teammates.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I'd be down with that.
Something like that, like a group fortify or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool with Orisa, if you're thinking that fortify.
Minimizing headshots and stuff, that'd be really cool.
Sigma... I really don't know how they would change Sigma too much because he's...
Sigma flies. I guarantee you that's what's happening.
Yes.
I like an cooldown.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be like an up, stay in place and down a bit. But I reckon they brought in Echo, so they're exploring how stuff can go in the air. They've buffed Farah a wee bit to stay up there. If we assume one more air-based hero, there's 4 out of 5 of a comp there that you could run in the
flying
sky.
Comp. Just flying comp.
I mean,
with a Mercy.
Yeah.
With a Mercy as well, yeah.
And maybe the 5th one
is Zen on the ground.
Or maybe the 5th one is a Sombra or something. Take out the defenses from below, attack them from above.
God. True flying comp.
Yeah, I'd probably put Mercy
and
and Bap as well, because then Bap can not fly, but Bap's got the mobility between the high ground and low ground because of those boots. So, have we just created our own Overwatch 2 comp before Overwatch 2 has even been...
Call us, Aaron. We're ready to go in.
What is this comp's name?
Rocket comp.
I'm trying to think of the... Oh, wait, is Sigma Dutch?
Yeah.
So the Flying Dutchman, right?
I mean, that's his skin.
That's his skin name.
He has
so
a Flying
Dutchman.
Okay,
yeah, so the Flying Dutchman. Let's go with that.
Love it.
Good God. If that actually occurs, my God, we're going to have to
Giga
quote
brain.
tweet this in a year's time. We're going to have to quote retweet this clip in a year's time. I'll save it on my PC.
Yes.
Waiting. But yeah, I think Hog will be an interesting one that they have to change, because that is a DPS tank, let's be honest.
Yeah, Hog doesn't really have any defensive capabilities for his team, though, does he?
Unless they do it like they did in that, what was it, 3-1-2 they tried?
Where he heals other people.
He used a breather and it dropped biotic fields all over the ground.
That's probably going to be the kind of change they do. I really like the idea of having something like that, like with the group fortify that we mentioned a minute ago. And obviously, to keep it sensible, if you like, have it in a ranged field. So it's not just like automatically this benefits everybody on your team.
Line of sight.
Yeah, it's like if you've got a ridiculous flanking Reaper or something over there. Like, none for you. You're over there in that position. You deserve whatever you get. But, like, everyone else, they're in range. Like Bap's window or his passive healing, where is it shift click, and everybody in vicinity
Immortality
heals.
As well as LOS based.
Yeah, all those kind of things. Line of sight is very, very important for a lot of characters in Overwatch. So if they were going to make those changes, I imagine it would be line of sight based, but I do really want to see Hammond with the dome shield.
I also think that Hog is actually going to be more powerful even before a rework than we think, because like hooking a person now, especially if you get the tank in a 5v5 comp, you've taken out a 5th of what they can do. Like if you get and deposition that tank, that's 4 squishies just fucked.
There's a play. You could hook the Diva and then send in someone like a Reaper with their ult. Diva's not there to mop up. That could be huge.
As well, though, you got to think, like, one of the only things that stops, well, basically the only thing other than bad aim that stops a Hog hook from connecting is a shield.
Yep. Or a bubble.
Or a bubble. So, yeah.
Maywall.
If you immediately block that shield then, or that shield doesn't exist because you're running like a Hammond or a Diva,
Mm-hmm.
that's Hog's playground at that point, especially on a map like Rio where we saw there is just nowhere to hide on Rio because there's so many places to hide. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
God, yeah, we haven't even got to the maps yet. But why do you laugh when I said Maywall? It is a genuine... if someone gets hooked, you put the wall up and it stops them getting hooked.
No,
I have never been on a team with a May that competent yet.
that was part.
Oh no, it's only at Overwatch League level you can do that.
But what I thought I got what you meant afterwards, but I thought you meant like somebody anticipates the hook and Maywall's in front of the hog to be like, not today, Satan. Not like protects them after the fact.
Oh my god. Maybe screw it. Yeah, maybe that is the future.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
let's get onto some of these maps.
Overwatch 2 includes mind reading now.
But these maps, my god, I think most of our favorite map, it was Rio, right? Rio
I
looked...
love Rio.
No,
Monaco.
you didn't like...
Oh, I love.
Well, Monte Carlo, yeah.
Let's go through them one by one.
Yeah.
So the first one we saw was New York. With the fire truck was it Chaco?
Yeah.
Was the name of the fire truck dude. I'm excited to see for New York. It's an iconic location, one Overwatch hasn't gone to before, and...
Okay, so I lied. Monte Carlo is not my favourite map. New York is. But it's for total...
Okay.
So I love Monte Carlo. Them announcing it on race weekend for Formula 1 and it having all the cars and stuff, it's so cool and thematic. I love New York because it looks like New York, but it looks like Overwatch New York. All of the other maps have like great art direction. And like, you know, you think Temple of Anubis, you think Hot, you think Sandy, you think Egypt, you think Hanamura's Cherry Blossoms. But it was lighting that made New York. All the lighting in New York looks grimy and streety.
Yeah.
And they have done so... I saw loads of people saying that Overwatch 2 looks more generic thematically. It doesn't. It just looks better.
No.
Like, the lighting is cleaner. The art is more detailed. I looked up at a spawn in a game yesterday and thought, fuck me, there's no windows here. It's all just grey. And, like, it's such a step up. So for them to be stepping up in that way and then have, like, lighting tech that allows them to make, like, a grimy, streety, New Yorky city is so cool.
It had that grit, didn't it?
Yes.
It felt like New York. And for me, what I like about maps in games is the detailing. The little things that you don't think about, but you know when they're not there. So for me, it was like the fact that we joked about it on stream and I was like, oh my God, I really hope that the payload on New York's a fire truck. And then it was. And it was driven by an Omnic, and the Omnic had a name, and I love that. And I love that when you take the initial point, because New York's a hybrid map, right?
The bell that rings.
The bell that rings and the sirens that go off. I was like, that's such a little thing. And when you're in the moment, you'll know it's there, but you won't consciously notice it.
Yep.
But it's such a cool little feature. And I found that with a lot of the maps that they're announcing for Overwatch 2, they all have that similar thing. And I'm really excited to see with the new graphics and lighting engines how they not rework but reskin the maps we're used to. Like, I really want to see King's Row with that new lighting engine. It is gonna look beautiful. But as well as that, Dorado, like the lighting on Dorado and the colours, it's already gorgeous. And I love nighttime maps. So for me, like, my favourites are King's Row, Dorado, and I'm really looking forward to Monte Carlo for the same reason.
And with that new lighting engine and Dorado, maybe we'll finally get to see the Sombra song in the sky.
Oh, yeah! I didn't even think of that.
God,
That's so cool.
That's it.
The new engine they've made looks incredible. The UI overhaul they're doing as well.
Yes.
Even though some of it may be still in that alpha stage, other bits definitely aren't and look incredible. What was it? The healing, like, auras, I will say, that there are. Transcendence looks god tier.
Zen literally looks like a deity when he's in Transcendence. It is incredible. But like
Mercy beams as well. They move around, they bend, they move beautifully.
Flexibility, guys, finally. But I'm excited for, like, since watching the Overwatch 2 stream, I've noticed a lot of things in Overwatch 1 that I didn't know existed, but they've always been there. So, like, you know, we were saying about how if you're being pocketed by a Mercy, you can now see where the Mercy is. I didn't realise you could see that in Overwatch 1. I just never paid attention. But
it wasn't as big, yeah.
They've reworked... No, it's bigger in Overwatch 1. But the way it looks now, the lighting on it, and they've kind of made it sleeker, it just looks better.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is the damage boost screen.
Oh, yeah, we were trying to find the damage. Because they are like
massive arrows on the screen if you're being damage boosted. And I'm like, why do you need this? This is ridiculous. But other than that, everything else is a lot sleeker, like the Zen orbs at the bottom of the screen, so you can now see who's got your healing orb, who's got your Discord orb. The Lucio swipe is a lot smaller, but you still know it's there. It feels less intrusive, and it feels like it's taken a little bit of inspiration from Valorant, but not in a bad way.
Gone for the minimal approach.
Yeah, it shade. It feels very clean, and it feels like it's living in that futuristic Overwatch world a bit more.
My one hold up with it is I don't like the elimination font. I think it's pretty unclear, and I was watching the games and trying to keep an eye without looking at the kill feed, who killed who, did what, did whatever. They've simplified it now to the point where it kind of looks very similar, but as a result, it was quite difficult to tell apart what was happening.
Yeah.
I think I pointed that out, and I was like, maybe that's an out. They just needed something for alpha, beta. This is definitely an alpha.
I was going to say, like, font and color changes at the end of the day is probably not going to break nuts, so I can imagine that's like a beta change. And it was, like, in Overwatch, it looked notably different between the beta and the final release as well. So it's a small niggle, which frankly is
same with the ultimate charge meter as well. I didn't like the way that looked.
I really like that.
I like the segments on it just because it makes it feel a bit more alive. I don't like just a plain circle.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the segments on it make it feel like you can judge how far away or close to it you are. I know that sounds silly, and I've never ever thought, I've only got one segment of ult left, we can win this. But like, just a wheel that charges up as you shoot things feels a bit like it's just a counter. But the segments and the ult counter always felt like you could tell what was applying to them. So yeah, I know what you mean. I do like the white blue ults, though. I think that's nice.
Yes, they look really swish. Like, just a lot of the things look a lot better. Like, again, going back to the Mercy beam, like the actual beam itself just looks more
alive.
Fluid. Yeah, it's got a lot of transparency and light and shade to it now. And I'm just, it's longer, and I'm just happy that it's longer.
It did
bloody
look like
time,
it
guys.
It had a range extension on it as well.
For me, line of sight is a problem. So having a long bendy beam is just chef's kiss. You've sold me.
I also like the difference between the healing beam sort of looked like a bit fluid, a bit connecty. The damage boost beam was like pulsing and vibing and a bit more lively. Like it very much wasn't just like a beam that was blue and yellow. You could tell they had different purposes.
It looked more like electricity, the damage boost, didn't it? Like there was a dangerous quality to it. And I love that. Again, it's those stupid little details that very few people actually pay attention to, but I love it.
Okay, but you say that, but these details actually, like, we take it for granted because we've played Overwatch for 4 years, but if you're coming into that game new, those details are visual language that will make a difference. Like, if you see a current blue Mercy beam, it's a Mercy doing blue stuff. But if you go into Overwatch 2 and you're scoping in on them as Widow, oh shit, that Mercy's damage boosting somebody. Look at all that electricity. Yeah. Like it will make a difference, even if it's small in quality of life rather than like, crazy big tank nerfing. One thing it's not that I'm unsure about. I trust them to get right because they've done such an amazing job. And it might just be a bit like, I'm so used to this, I didn't like the new stuff. Some of the new sounds were a little bit odd.
What, the new gun sound?
Yeah, Widow in particular sounds like she's firing a fucking 70 caliber, like...
I love that gun.
She's propped up like American Sniper on a hill 10 miles in that direction, and she's looking for your head. Like,
well, she is.
yeah,
She is a
true.
sniper
Yeah,
who could one hit certain tanks essentially if they're low enough with the damage
Yeah.
There's a
boost.
sound thing where you go into the
They
room
could
and
do
you
it,
fire
but
all the guns together.
I mean,
What's that
I
called?
like some of the guns.
Foley?
Soldier's assault rifle now sounds like an assault rifle and can do more damage. I don't think I think BAP still does more damage to heroes in game currently. But his gun now at least sounds like it does half of the business.
I love this, and the reason I love this is because I'm a huge sound nerd. So me and my partner both did music and sound at uni, and a big part of that was sound design. And that's the point where I kind of fell into that rabbit hole of sound design and Foley. So for me, this is like god tier stuff. I love it. And I had to ask the name of it a second ago because I couldn't remember the name of it. But it's called an impulse response. So basically, a lot of what makes a weapon feel like a weapon is the amount of like reverb and spatial sound that comes with the actual gunshot itself. And the fact that they've gone out and they found, even for the fictional weapons, they've gone out and they've found the closest realistic weapon and they've fired them in realistic settings and they've got those true to form noises. Then they've added it in, they've upgraded the animations and the skins. The whole thing for me is just beautiful. I love it so much. And that is dedication.
Yeah.
Impulse response recording is really fucking difficult. So the fact that they've done that... Zen's gun?
Well, I'll get you.
Oh, you had about the coin thing that where you're just like
thing,
tossing coins at
when he
somebody.
right clicks now, it sounds like you're dropping coins. And I hate it.
Like a slot machine.
Zen's just
Yeah, I
flexing
hate it.
if you want,
It's just flexing.
just to take a quick aside, if you want a really good little mini documentary on that stuff, there was a little featurette done on, you know, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Yes.
There was a little featurette on them and also on the Arkham games done about sound recording, and it's really cool.
I've seen them.
It shows them shooting the guns and mapping the response time, but the best bit about it is that they're doing it on the Warner Brothers set and they're doing it on the Friends set, which you don't really know. They don't draw attention to it, but if you look closely, it looks like Friends has become a fucking war zone because it's got like their apartment in the distance and then some heavily armored dude cracking snipers left, right, and center. It's great.
There's a really good, I think it's even shorter than that one, on the Foley of Doctor Who.
Oh,
and
interesting.
like the sonic screwdriver is just a wrench, but it's what are they called? The wrenches have the bit that, not just the, they've got like a bit that pops on top.
Oh yeah, like a torque wrench kind of a thing.
Yes,
yeah.
It's one of them. They're just pulling it up and flicking it, and that's what makes the sonic screwdriver noise. And the hidden blade in Assassin's Creed, they have at the Montreal Studios sound department. It's like an old vintage big lock.
Oh, right.
And it's the sound of that opening, like unlocking, that is the hidden blade. And they've used it in every single game. It is the
that's
same
awesome.
massive vintage lock. And I love that kind of nerdy ass attention to detail.
I'm pretty sure Play Overwatch has done a video on some sort of sound design.
They did
right?
one at one point, yeah. I can't remember what it was.
I'm trying to find it right now.
I love map details as well. Like some of the new things they've added to like the windiness of the map. Like Monte Carlo, that hill in Monte Carlo.
Oh, God.
Friendships are going to be made and broken on that hill because we always talk in our games like, oh, don't worry, it's fine. We've got defensive advantage if something goes wrong. That hill is the definition of defense. It is we have the high ground.
And also like little versions of that. So I'm gonna jump in two things here because I wanted to add something to the Foley. Favorite piece of Foley ever is every version of Batman's cape is a variation on a motorcycle jacket and a wedding dress, so that it flaps hard enough but has enough weight behind it. It's so cool. To get back on topic, my favorite little version of that was in I think it was New York. They showed the payload going down a road and there were some crashed cars on the road, and the payload sort of shifted to avoid the crashed cars and sort of weaved between them, which in current Overwatch with 2 tanks doesn't mean a lot, but like shifting a payload like that on just a second is gonna like it's such a little thing that will change how the game plays in those moments, and they're clearly thinking about not how like they're clearly not thinking so much about how like, oh well, maybe you can bubble the Rhine as Zarya and get Grav, but like about, well, if the payload goes slightly to the left here, who can we open up? What sightline does that mean? Where does Widow go? You know, where does Hog pressure? And that's exciting.
Yeah, I love that. They clearly, with the new map, you can see it a lot actually in the new map designs. They're thinking how the space itself will change the way that different heroes play. And I love that. I love that so much, because you can turn. It's the bit you're on about is Monte Carlo, and it's right near the beginning, and there's a race car crashed into a lamppost. And that, if you defend that well, that is a mini choke point.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
But at the same time, if you put your tank in front of that before the defenders get in front of it, you've already taken that, and you then have an advantage. So, oh my god, it's like the maps themselves become a meta. It's crazy. I love it. They've put so much care into this, and I'm so happy that they've taken the time. No matter how many delays it's had, you can tell that it's been delayed for a reason, and it's not just one of those games that's stuck in developmental hell.
I wonder if this will lead to map and hero bans.
Yes.
I think it
100%.
should.
What, in game?
Yes.
Like before?
I think that's the only good way to do it. I don't think hero pools makes any sense, because the meta that develops at different levels, like if you have hero pools, you just fuck one side of the player base. And the player base is vocal. They will always shout about being fucked. If it's the pro players, they shout to millions. If it's not the pro players, there's millions of them. But hero bans, I think, is a really great way to do it. And if we're queuing less time with 5v5, there's less people picking, it takes a bit less time, and it's a bit less arduous for everyone just to ban Bastion. Like, who's being reworked.
Oh my god.
Thank God.
Put a Bastion at the top of that hill on Monte Carlo. No.
Bastion at the top of that hill, Symmetra turrets on the back of the cars.
Oh,
you ain't getting
stop.
through.
Please stop. That sounds like a nightmare. Can you remember when there were hero bans in Overwatch 1?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember being
the
like...
weekly one?
Those dark
I
6
remember
months.
being like, I'm not playing comp this week because Mercy's banned. And at that point, I'd not quite developed the other characters that I have in my pool now. So I was like, nope. That's me gone for a week.
My entire squad dropped 2 ranks in the 6 months of hero pools.
Ooh.
Good lord.
Yep.
But yeah, I think hero bans definitely could happen. I think
I
maybe
think
they
need
try
to.
it as an experimental mode first, to sit rather than have it as like, hey, because there's already a big change that going into this with the reduction of a tank. They're gonna want to let people get used to that before saying, hey, now you can ban certain heroes at certain stages. I think they'll do it how League does it, which is what you can protect. You can pick one, but then ban one. Like, you pick who you want to play. Oh, that actually brings it in. Do you think they'll still allow mirror comps?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like...
I think...
I'm only theorising, like, if someone picks D.Va on one side, you can't pick D.Va anymore.
No, there's no way you could do that. Because like, especially you couldn't do that with tanks, because then metas could never develop. Then the meta would be counter-picking who you don't want the enemy to play.
Well, no, you pick D.Va as your locking tank. They can't pick D.Va at all, but they could pick any of the other tanks.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
No, I don't think that would.
That's not going to sit well. Not with Overwatch's. It might work for League, but not with Overwatch's style of gameplay, because it's more in your face, first-person brawly. That would not work at all.
And especially like map dependent. Like if you like Monaco, for example, if you need a shield on it, you lock Reinhardt and win. And like you don't specifically, you know, they play Orisa, they play around it, but like, I don't know. I feel like hero bans could work because it's team dependent. Like any team with Bastion main, for example, and in contenders on it, doesn't want Bastion banned, so that's really powerful. But other teams, you know, if you're banning for London, you know, you ban Blase on Echo. If you're banning for Florida, you ban Yaki on Tracer. But I feel like hard locking gives so much more of an advantage to one side or the other. If Yaki hardlocks Tracer, not only are we fucked on Shax, but we then have to hard counter, and that kind of takes that rock paper scissors out of the game.
It should be like a blanket rotating hero pool, basically, is what we're saying.
Ooh.
Is that right?
No, we were picking the bans per game.
Yeah.
I thought was what you were discussing.
Would
you be in this situation? Would you say your first pick? Would you be able to pick any character to then swap it to your tank player? So you want a Zen. You got a Zen one trick, but they're like last on the pick list. You pick Zen to lock it in for them.
The way I would do it is start of a game. You get a minute and a half at the start of a game. That's part of the spawn time. In that minute and a half, everyone gets the opportunity to pick one tank, one healer, 2 DPS, and the popularist picks across the team are banned for both sides.
Ooh. Oh. I like that. That works more.
And maybe
we would never see certain characters if that happened, though. Like, Anna would be gone. There would be no Anna, ever.
But then
I don't know.
It depends how many other characters there are, because, like, especially as we add more and more and more, like, right now I think people would ban Bap harder than they'd ban Anna.
Yeah, true.
So, but in that sense, then, like, do you then... They respond by nerfing Anna or buffing Bap. And if you ban it for one side, you can't play it yourself. So do you... I don't know. It's. I just don't want Bastion anymore.
For me, I like the idea of just like what they're doing for the June Joust and the May Melee now. I like the idea of it being random because I like the idea that anything could happen. And I like the idea that it kind of forces metas to shift. I just like the randomness of it. And it always feels fair if that happens, and I don't like putting that kind of control into players' hands.
Let's just get
just give them more to moan about, right?
Let's just get Nori to pick them every week. We'll just live stream
every week. Nori.
I think also we're looking at these hero bans from that Overwatch 6v6 perspective. We may not even need them when it gets to 5v5. There may be a ever-changing meta naturally. I doubt it. I expect it will be very much you play this hero because it has the best kit for this map for this situation.
And like map pools as well in the game in general, they're not something you need. But
I mean, I still don't want to play Horizon Lunar Colony on.
Yeah, but you get my point. Like, keep it how they've kept it with like certain maps are quick play only. But I think for the most part, like especially the ones we've seen announced exclusively for Overwatch 2, I don't think there's any reason none of them aren't designed for comp. But like in the Overwatch League, there's that many maps now that maybe have a rotation for Overwatch League tournaments and stuff. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you keep the map pool, but you only use it for League. And other than those non-quick play exclusive maps, you could get anything if you go into ranked.
Then because of bad planning, there might be Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 might be released at the same time.
I'm not really into Diablo, but
no, me either.
Why would you release two of your biggest properties at the same time?
Oh,
why would you do that?
Yeah, Overwatch 2 is expected to launch by September, November of 2022 or early 23, according to one article.
That's
which I do
bloody ages away, like a whole year and a half away at the earliest. It cannot be that far away with everything that we've seen, surely.
I mean, I think so. They said they haven't put the new render engine onto the skins. That will take a bit to make sure that they're fine. Rebalance all tanks, not all of them have been done, and re-update them.
Yeah, that's so long though.
That's what I'm thinking. There might be a version ready for Overwatch League Season 5 that they play on, but how do you deal with that? God, there's so much we could talk about.
Yeah, God knows.
I think that's the company outlook does not include Overwatch 2 releasing 2021. That maybe there'll be a beta end of this year. Like,
yeah.
Think about it. November. When was the beta for Overwatch 1?
I don't know, because I came into it at Season 2. Or I only started playing it, should I say, at Season 2.
It began October 2017.
And we got it in 2018, right?
Mm-hmm. And then it closed by the end of that year. Then reopened February 9th, 2016 to do it. And then, wow, 9.7 million people played the beta.
That's crazy.
And then the game released, May this time in 2015. So actually...
2015?
2016, sorry.
I said the beta was 2017.
No, 2015.
Okay.
So that works.
Yeah, that works time-wise.
Yeah, so we get a beta end of this year, or one beta and then another. They work over the Christmas period, come back February, March with, hey, this is the close to end version we have. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We play it. Those who have Overwatch 1 get an automatic upgrade. Oh no, how is it they're doing? They're upgrading PvP, but if you want the PvE, you got to buy that. And the new engine as well. You've got to pay for the engine upgrade as well. I'll do that on my main. I don't care about my alts.
Yeah, I only have one account, so I will do that on my main.
How much would you pay if you've got Overwatch 1?
Mm-hmm.
How much would you be willing to pay to get the upgrade to Overwatch 2? So think of it. You're paying for that PvE content and the new engine.
I don't feel like there's going to be a shit ton of PvE content, though. That's the thing. It's not like it's going to be like a campaign in a single-player game.
There is. You can unlock your abilities as you level up your characters.
Yeah,
so
but you're playing a lot of the same stuff again, though.
Oh, God, yeah. It's World of Warcraft grinding.
Yeah, because I've always looked at Overwatch 2 as like a different game for so long. I would probably pay up to 40.
Wow, I would pay 20.
I would not want to pay more than... I'd be fuming if they made us pay more than 40 quid.
I would pay 40 if I hadn't bought the game. I think 40 for brand new players.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 for an upgrade.
Yeah, I think if you've already bought Overwatch 1, it should be like an upgrade fee as opposed to like outright buying it, because it's just insulting otherwise. But yeah, if you've not got Overwatch 1, you've not got anything to add to, so you need to buy the whole thing.
There's talk of Overwatch going free to... I completely forgot. There's talk of Overwatch going free to play, which makes sense because it's got the loot box economy model. I don't know how much money Blizzard makes on these loot boxes.
So in theory, you'd only pay for PvE, like a season pass kind of thing, then, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's not too bad, as long as that wasn't ridiculous.
Would again another question. If they come out with a battle pass, season pass type thing, which it costs you, I don't know, certain amount of in-game credits.
Yeah.
Because you can't buy credits, can you? You buy the loot boxes.
Yeah, you can't buy credits.
No. So assuming they develop that and you buy credits, and it's like 2,000 credits for this pass, would you get it? Or if not, what would need to be in it for you to get it?
Would I get the PvE pass?
No, this is a separate thing. So, like, you've bought the PvE, but they've introduced this new mechanic where you pay so much of this in-game currency, which you can earn from the loot boxes. I'll be fine, because I've got 300 to open.
I would only do that if there was additional game level content in that. Like,
what about skins?
I wouldn't do that for skins. I'd be fuming if they made you do that for skins.
You get skins, but then you get credits back, and if you've earned the pass, if you unlock all tiers of the pass, you can buy the next one and earn some on the side. Because that's how the COD pass work. It costs 1,000 credits, but you can earn 1,300 back.
No,
if you max it out.
I don't like that mechanic at all. I think they've got a fairly good thing going on with how you get skins currently. I do not see it working another way. It obviously can, because it does in other games. But I think they'd be taking too much away from the identity of Overwatch if they did that for me. And then obviously, if they ever got to the point where they were like, you can purchase this new map, or you can purchase this new character, I just feel like, fuck you guys, because
I doubt
that's stupid. Like, I'm not a big fan of loot box mechanics anyway.
No.
But, like, I know a lot of people get annoyed by the loot boxes in Overwatch because they get a lot of the same stuff, or they get stuff they don't want.
It's not too bad, though.
But it's really easy to get...
Compared to FIFA.
Oh, yeah. It's really easy to get loot boxes without paying for them. And
Arcade is...
Yeah, and you get
best way to
credits
do it.
back. It might only be 5 per item, but you get credits back if you've already got something in your loot box. It's not a big deal, and they give you a legendary loot box at the start of every event. So the way that they do loot boxes, for me, is already good enough. I wouldn't want
I
any
would not be
changes.
surprised if they brought it in when it goes free to play.
Yeah.
Which would likely happen before Overwatch 2 is more released, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
In terms of timelines.
They'd want to draw more people in ready for Overwatch 2, right?
Oh god, yeah, to get that upgrade. Actually, they wouldn't get the upgrade fee because
because it's free to play. They'd have to buy the whole thing.
It must be based on if they did it like that. It would then have to be based on how many hours you've played.
Yes.
And when you last played on that account.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back, Cam.
What did I miss?
We were just ranting about loot boxes.
Okay.
Loot boxes and Overwatch 2 trajectory. But actually, I think now you're back. I want to talk about push maps. Because the brand new way of playing Overwatch with our good friend Tim the Bot. I love these maps. I prefer Rome over Toronto.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think they pointed out on the stream, they are two completely different... Like, even though they're the same map type, they are played in two completely different ways.
Yeah.
Like, 2CP is typically always played in the same way. You've got that first big choke you've got to break through. You get that, you've got the first point. But Toronto is, I would say, is more like a snake. It's windy with not as much high ground as Rome did, because that had, the big straight, you went that. It makes a U shape. We don't even know what the rest of the map looks like. We never got past like the middle stage of Rome.
Rome looks insane. I do like the idea of push being time limited and not relying on you can lose progress. So like if you've pushed it so far and then the enemy team start a push, it's not like with Escort where the payload starts going backwards and you lose progress that you've made. They still, even if they get control of that payload again, they still have to push it further than you guys have. So I really like the idea of that, and obviously putting a time limit on it. It's not a ridiculous, like 7 or 8 minutes, right? It's not a ridiculously long game mode because it's so intense.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine
It's
a push
non-stop
map going
action.
like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Good God.
It'd be
My
awful.
wrist would die at the end of that game.
Poor
Jesus
Tim.
Christ.
I also like that it's replacing 2CP, so that time
Yes.
limit element
Oh God, yeah.
is important.
What's going to happen to the 2CP maps that they built? Obviously, they'll be in quick play. Would it still be a mode in quick play?
I
Ooh,
don't.
yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't see the point of keeping them in quick play if it's not in the rotation that makes sense. No,
I'm sad to see some maps go. Like,
Agreed.
I really
Hanamura.
like Hanamura.
That was originally a payload map, though, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Before they
But
changed
I
up
can
into...
see them taking the popular maps and repurposing them.
I agree. I think they'd all make quite good control maps. Just add a spawn in, cut the area off a bit, and let them be
Yeah.
separate points.
You get Hanamura with Konetska. you've got 2 of us, 3
Oh
control maps.
yeah. You could do.
Because they're all in the same area. You need one other map.
Oh yeah.
And then Anubis
like
originally had a third point, didn't it? It was further back in like the vault, I think.
Yeah. Anubis would make a very good escort map as well.
Yes.
Yeah, Anubis
Could you imagine getting over that bridge? That is a beautiful for point B of Anubis.
You'd have to alter some things for like a payload to get through it, but
yeah.
If you open certain areas up and stretch it all out a little bit, you could take that Anubis concept and a lot of the work that's already there and make it into a really enjoyable, in my opinion, payload.
And I think
payload experience.
I think the same of Watchpoint the Moon. I forget what it's called.
Horizon.
That's
Horizon.
Watchpoint Horizon and Paris. I don't know what they'll do with Paris because Paris is kind of a mess.
The thing with Paris is Monte Carlo already looks like the better upgraded escort version of Paris. So they've kind of made Paris redundant unless
you turn it into a hybrid map.
Use it as a hybrid or a control.
You open, so Paris, you've got obviously that one choke, but you've got that roof bit. They turn that into another way of getting in. Obviously, the point is where you unlock the payload, and then you go through the mansion, and then there's something. You go in through the mansion, and then into a gardens bit with hedges and waterfalls behind.
I mean,
because you've got that in the front a bit.
Honestly, the way the map plays at the minute, you could probably do it as a payload as well. Like from the starting spawn, it's quite a windy road. All the way up
then you've got the bridge, then you've got the big gates.
Yeah, you've got the hotel that you could do first spawns in.
Break down the gates,
Do like a French Revolution thing. Deliver cake to the to the thing.
I love that.
Actually, yeah, that definitely could work.
A payload full of extravagant cake
and a guillotine. Cake and a guillotine.
God,
I love it.
I think
Paris could make a nice hybrid or a
You'd have to rework the mansion bit, because otherwise that's kind of just a straight line from the gates to that courtyard.
You could easily rework that though. They could
make it go around left. Make it go around the left along the river, so you've got that boot potential.
Yeah. Environmental kills, and then from the left, maybe go through all the way to the right side, round and deliver it to the statue, or something like that.
Yeah,
that could work. Yeah. See,
what other maps are there that would need? What other maps would need to? What 2CP maps are there? There's Hanamura, there's Anubis, there's Horizon Lunar Colony, there's Paris. What else?
I feel like we're missing a really obvious one.
Volskaya,
Volskaya.
Yeah.
Volskaya would be another one that would be a really good escort map.
That's a great. I think that's one of the best 2CP maps. There's so much happens on Volskaya.
Yeah.
Or a control map as well. Like the locations you've got in there, you could turn it inside. You know that initial mansion when you come out of spawn to your right? You could turn like the inside of that. Like kind of like Busan Mecha Base kind of thing. You could turn the inside of that into a control point. You've got the second point anyway is a very good control point. So you could do a lot with that.
Here's an interesting thought. Horizon could make a good push map.
Ooh, yes.
If you kind of started at the opposite spawns, picked up the robot in Winston's play area,
the growing bit.
Yeah.
Actually, that would make more sense. No,
I'm trying to think. What is the middle bit of that map? Maybe the point actually is the middle part.
The middle bit of that map is the doorway between the section for point A. You come out of the play area. There's the archway. Then you go into where they're growing the bananas towards point B.
That line.
That is the middle of that map. So you'd have to do a little bit of jigging stuff around, but it is more than doable. Yeah, it's very symmetrical in its layout anyway.
Yeah,
so...
and there's definitely stuff in there where you could use high ground. Like if you turned the stuff to the side of that point off into a path that led away from it, you could turn that into a high ground. You've got the high ground that leads on to point B. I don't know.
We'll need another air locker. We'll need another
a second airlock, and we can watch Tim push it through space.
Oh, actually, we kind of have that we could expand where, what was it, point B, you got the bit to the left if you're looking towards the enemy spawn, you've got that whole area.
You've got that whole room, haven't you?
Push that up a bit, you then have an equidistant out space locker. I don't know how to call it. I just want to call it space locker. That's it. Thank you.
The space locker is where you keep your space when you're in work.
Thanks.
I like that. Are you okay there, hon?
Oh yeah, I was just cleaning my
Are you giving yourself some lashings for getting that wrong?
No.
There's a lot they could do without having to say goodbye to things that people have grown to either love or hate, depending on the map. And looking at you, Paris.
And the other thing, honestly, is even if they kind of turn these into dedicated workshop maps, you think about how much we as a community already love the Workshop Island, Workshop White Room. It's not a map in the same way, but it is important, to the community, I think.
Or just keep them as deathmatch maps.
Yeah.
For when you're in between games, just keep them there. We tend to go to... I don't know about you, but I get a lot in Paris anyway.
Yeah.
Kanetska's been the one I get all the time. Okay, I've seen the Cat Cafe enough times. I don't care about this Cat Cafe.
I would love an escort through there, to be fair. But I do think if you pair that with the 2 points of Hanamura, you've got a wonderful control map. Especially with, how Nepal has Shrine, the outside one.
Yeah.
Then on Kanazaki, you've got the bit with the health pack in the middle and the big building.
Yeah.
Which I'm on about. It's very similar to that, so I would really like to see them combine. Like you said, they're all set in the same kind of area, very similar style. I'd love to see them combine that with Hanamura. Yes.
I had an idea for the Kanetska. If they did turn that into control, imagine multi-tiered. You could control the point from either that top bit in the middle or the bottom bit.
Oh, interesting.
Don't know how I feel about that.
So then, because you've got the wall on the bottom bit blocking one side, you have a wall on the top blocking the other side. So then you could have people touching the point from the right direction both spawns would be. You'd be able to touch the point without having to combat the enemy team. But then you've got to do some rotations to get around.
Overtime on that would be horrible.
Oh, God, no.
I like it.
It'd be horrible. It could be. They haven't done it before.
Interesting.
So I don't anticipate it, but I think that could be a unique way of approaching some of these new designs of maps.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning to all of this that whilst we're kind of coming up with stuff and wanting it, we are ultimately theory crafting. It's entirely possible that Paris Eternal gets binned
we're going
off.
for the...
No, not...
We're going for the
Paris Eternal one.
It's possible that Paris eternally gets binned off, but... Yeah,
We're going for clickbaity title.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here. New Overwatch 2 maps.
We're gonna call the pre-show "The Truth About HelloFresh," and it's really nice.
Yeah, I got one box with 3 or 4 recipes and really liked it.
A lot of halloumi, big support.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I mean, there's so much we could talk about Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
But I think we may leave that until at least a week or so when we have the Q&A and find maybe more details.
And another way that's worth thinking about it is there is loads of stuff that we could say about Overwatch 2, or alternatively you could come and experience with us in our Overwatch 2 pugs. We're going to be running a series of 5v5 pugs. To be fair, at this point we've already run them, but we've run one. Wow, I can't even say
We run them every 2 weeks. We run them roughly fortnightly, so even though you've missed the one that's just happened, you can catch the next one.
So if you want to come along and find out why you're wrong about tanks being diminished and it being bad, I could, of course, come along and play the game with us. See what 5v5 might feel like, what those kind of characters might change, like how Overwatch 2 might feel, and if not, just get an opportunity to participate in some pugs and learn a little bit more about your game. And if you like that, we got a whole Discord for you. The Chaos Void is an esports focused Discord with an accessible and welcoming community that we make sure is accessible and welcoming. We are focused on improving players, people, communities all round, just generally good shit.
Yeah. Of course, if you want to support us, you can support us by either donating directly to us with buy me a coffee. Me personally, buy me a coffee. I need coffee. It's the only way I can live. But of course, there'll be a link in the description. Of course, as Cam said very beautifully at the beginning, all episodes of our podcast are brought to you in collaboration with Humble Bundle, the greatest way to get great games at low value, and also helps us out and some great courses out as well. But until next time, everyone, fuck off.
Can also be brought to you by Fentimans. I'm just saying Fentimans, the option's there.
Yes, and as well, just one little tidbit to tackle on the end of that. We do understand that not everybody has deep wallets. So if you want to support us in a free way as well, every single like on this video helps us out massively. And if you enjoy our content, hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell icon, ding dong, because if you don't, YouTube will bury our videos and you won't know they exist. So yeah, if you like it, click that bell
YouTube
icon.
will bury our videos like Jeff is burying off tanks. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.